Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. This is Breaking with Convention, War, Peace, and the Presidency. I'm Amy Goodman. Here in Philadelphia, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's become the first woman to accept a major party presidential nomination in U.S. history.
Tonight, we've reached a milestone in our nation's march toward a more perfect union. The first time that a major party has nominated a woman for president. Standing here as my mother's daughter and my daughter's mother, I'm so happy this day has come. I'm happy for grandmothers and little girls and everyone in between. I'm happy for boys and men, because when any barrier falls in America, it clears the way for everyone.
Can you hear? That was Hillary Clinton, the first woman nominated for the presidency by a major party. During her speech, Clinton also pledged to work with Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders to implement some of his core proposals.
Bernie Sanders and I will work together to make college tuition free for the middle class and debt free for all. We will also liberate millions of people who already have student debt.
Hillary Clinton's address came at the end of a day packed with speakers, including her daughter Chelsea Clinton, retired four-star Marine General John Allen, civil rights legend Dolores Huerta, Moral Mondays leader Reverend William Barber, and LGBT rights activist Sarah McBride, who became the first openly transgender woman to speak at a major party convention.
Will we be a nation where there's only one way to love, only one way to look, and only one way to live? Or will we be a nation where everyone has the freedom to live openly and equally? A nation that's stronger together.
Retired NBA star Kareem Abdul-Jabbar also spoke Thursday. He opened his speech with a jab at Donald Trump.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Jordan, and I'm here with Hillary. I said that because I know that Donald Trump couldn't tell the difference.
He then went on to really introduce himself as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the NBA's all-star leading scorer. Ohio Congresswoman Joyce Beatty also appeared to take a jab at the Trumps on Thursday when she took the DNC stage wearing the exact same off-white dress with billowing sleeves that Melania Trump wore when she gave her speech at the RNC in Cleveland last week. This fashion plagiarism, mocking Melania Trump's plagiarizing parts of Michelle Obama's speech from the 2008 DNC speech. Meanwhile, Donald Trump Jr. is accusing President Obama of having plagiarized a line from his speech at the RNC last week. Both men used the phrase, quote, "That's not the America I know," unquote. However, well before the RNC, Obama has used some variant of the phrase, "the America I know," or "not the America I know," on multiple occasions. Former President George W. Bush also used this phrase. Donald Trump hasn't appreciated all the jabs and jokes at his expense during this week's DNC. At a rally in Davenport, Iowa, Thursday, Trump talked about attacking multiple DNC speakers.
I wanted to hit a couple of those speakers so hard, I would have hit them. No. I was going to hit them, so I was all set. And then I got a call from a highly respected governor. "How's it going, Donald?" I said, "Well, it's going good, but they're really saying bad things about me. I'm going to hit them so hard." I was going to hit one guy in particular, a very little guy. I was going to hit this guy so hard his head would spin. He wouldn't know what the hell happened.
Meanwhile, back in Philadelphia, Bernie Sanders delegates protested both on and off the convention floor Thursday. Scores of Sanders delegates wore fluorescent green shirts reading "Enough is enough," which appeared to glow in the dark whenever the arena lights dimmed in between speakers. Many of these delegates also held signs reading "No more wars," "Ban fracking now," and #DNC email leaks, as well as Jill Stein. Toward the end of Thursday night, about a half dozen young black activists marched out of the convention convention arena chanting Black Lives Matter. Some from Colorado walked out. Another group of California delegates marched out saying their votes hadn't been counted. It took California a month to count the votes following the June 7th primary. A third group from Colorado walked off the convention floor. Meanwhile, hundreds of protesters rallied outside the Wells Fargo Center Thursday night. Seattle City Councilwoman Kshama Sawant addressed the crowd.
But what's happening here is this. Sanders has decided to endorse Clinton, but you can see thousands of people and the Democratic Party's own delegates do not accept that, because that is not a way forward. That's a failed strategy, putting our faith in the corporate two parties. So here, people are here to say that they refuse, they reject that move, and we want to build our independent movements. We want to greet the brave delegates who are going to walk out during Hillary's speech so that we can discuss where we go from here.
We'll host a discussion between Seattle City Councilwoman Kshama Sawant and Rebecca Traister, New York Magazine writer, after headlines. Meanwhile, The Guardian's Ben Jacobs reported the Democratic Party tried to thwart protest chants from the floor by circulating a list of counter chants on Thursday. Clinton delegates were reportedly instructed to chant USA when Sanders delegates chanted No More War, and Hillary when Sanders delegates chanted Stop the TPP. Despite these efforts, the protest chants could still be heard from the floor, although they were largely drowned out for television audiences. This comes as at least one Sanders delegate is saying his credentials were stripped from him after he held a protest sign during President Obama's speech Wednesday night.
I'm Frank Klein. I'm a 61-year-old delegate from Arkansas Congressional District 4. I'm here to represent Mike. I'm a Bernie delegate. They have told me because I held up a no TPP sign during the Obama speech. I didn't yell, I didn't make a commotion, I just held up a sign that it's against DNC rules for me to use an unofficial sign, and they've refused to give me my credentials to go to the convention on the fourth day. I feel like this is a violation of my constitutional rights to free speech.
In news from Baltimore, the prosecutors who failed to secure convictions for police officers after the death of Freddie Gray say Baltimore's police department undermined their case. Prosecutors Michael Schatzow and Janice Bledsoe say police failed to serve search warrants for police cell phones that would have offered evidence of how officers reacted after Gray's death. Gray died in April 2015 of spinal injuries after he was arrested and transported in a police van. 6 officers faced charges related to his death, but prosecutors dropped all remaining charges against 3 officers Wednesday after failing to win convictions for any of the first 4 officers to go on trial. 5 of the officers have also filed suit against Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby, alleging defamation and unlawful arrest. Meanwhile, the man who recorded Eric Garner's death is suing New York City for $10 million. Ramsey Orta says he was arrested on trumped-up drug charges as payback for filming the fatal police chokehold that killed Eric Garner July 17, 2014. Under a plea deal, Orta is slated to serve 4 years in jail, making him the only person at the scene of Eric Garner's death who will serve jail time. Republican vice presidential nominee Mike Pence is scheduled to address the American Legislative Exchange Council's annual conference today. ALEC is a right-wing group that proposes legislative language that's then used by lawmakers. More than 100 protesters gathered outside the conference on Wednesday. Imprisoned Army whistleblower Chelsea Manning faces new charges after she tried to commit suicide July 5th. The Army told Manning yesterday she's being investigated on charges that include having prohibited property in her cell and resisting being moved out of the cell. If convicted, Manning could face punishment, including indefinite solitary confinement and additional time in prison. It could also negate the chance of parole. Chelsea Manning is serving a 35-year sentence at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. Best-selling author and feminist writer Jessica Valenti has quit using social media indefinitely after she received a rape threat aimed at her child. Valenti has long received violent threats online as a result of her feminist writing. But on Wednesday, she tweeted, quote, "This morning I woke up to a rape and death threat directed at my 5-year-old daughter. That this is part of my work life is unacceptable," unquote. In another tweet, she added, "I can't live like this." And the U.S. government's reached an agreement with the family of Giovanni Lo Porto, an Italian aid worker killed in a CIA drone strike in Pakistan last year. Lawyers for the family told The Intercept the government had paid compensation but did not disclose the amount. The agreement comes more than a year after President Obama acknowledged and apologized for the operation which killed Lo Porto and a U.S. government contractor named Warren Weinstein. Despite hundreds of hours of surveillance, Obama said the United States had not known that the hostages were present. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, Breaking with Convention, War, Peace, and the Presidency. I'm Amy Goodman.